So anyway, after the Suez Crisis itself, which I needn't go into, it's very well known about indeed. Von Leers, the great linguist who was of course Nasser's personal tutor, eccentric man who converts to Islam and all the rest of it. He is recruited by the BND, which is the West German Secret Service, with the code name, the not very subtle code name Nazi Emmy, to use his closeness to Nasser to gain intelligence. However, he was a little bit too loose-lipped and flaunted his admiration for the Reich in neo-Nazi papers, drew far too much attention to himself, so he was judged. Additionally, as well, it was judged to be inefficient and possibly even insane. So the Nazis, not the Nazis, rather the West German Secret Service, the BND, thought perhaps not, perhaps we'll drop him. Nasser, to go back to him, employs various Jewish question, quote-unquote, specialists in his government, as well as in von Leer's radio station, which is called Voice of Arabia. Again, we had during the war, we now have after the war, the Grand Mufti reprising his role as the great star of the radio and giving these violently anti-Semitic speeches. Nasser decides he's going to make the Palestinian cause a priority. He wants to modernize the abilities of intelligence and propaganda in Egypt. So he thinks a good way to be popular, a good way to win support is to prioritize Palestine. He uses in his propaganda war the Protocols of the Elders of Zion, which is the famous notorious forgery from, I believe, 1903, which originated in Russia, I want to say, which was, of course, the sort of birth of the official conspiracy theory about Jews being, running the world, sort of puppet masters, pulling the strings, all of this kind of stuff. So he's very keen on the Protocols of Elders of Zion. He uses that as well as expelling all British and French expats and Egypt's small Jewish population as well. The last Jews who are left in Egypt after all of this finally leave after the 1967 war. In all of this propaganda, the visual representations of Jews are fascinatingly very, very similar indeed to the ones we traditionally associate with Goebbels' propaganda, with Nazi Germany's propaganda. And the Muslim Brotherhood, who are founded in Egypt in 1928, and who are now banned in most Middle Eastern countries, although interestingly not in many Western countries such as Britain or America, they write a 1956 pamphlet which states that Hitler's name awakes sympathy and enthusiasm in the heart of our movement. So despite an obvious affinity for such ideas, Nasser takes the clever political decision not to align his government with the Brotherhood, as this would give his critics the smoking gun they needed to label him anti-Semitic. So that kind of wraps up the story. I would say I'll just give you a quick coda on how this kind of impacts on today. Interestingly, last year, a film called A Century in 6 Years was released in Egypt. It's a film depicting a fictional meeting between the Mufti's grandson, a fictional grandson called Sheikh Hareth, and Hitler's non-existent, obviously, grandson, where the grandson of the Mufti asks Hitler's grandson to honour the promise of freeing Palestine given by Hitler to the Mufti. Of course, this is fictional on many, many fronts, not least the fact that Hitler, as we said before, had not actually promised to, quote-unquote, free Palestine. However, the film acts as though he had, and then posits these two grandsons who have this conversation. Remarkable, overall, just a remarkable concept for a film. And what's even more remarkable is that it was highly feted in Egypt. It won a jury prize. This is 2024, remember, we're talking about. It's won a jury prize and a mention for Best Actor at the Sharqiya International Film Festival in Oman. It was shown in the Cairo Francophone Cinema Exhibition and the Kairoun Cinema Days Festival in Tunisia in February 2024. It was promoted by the Egyptian Filmmakers Syndicate. It was also due to be shown at the Emirates Film Festival, but one of the creators, Mohammed Nassef, for unknown reasons, pulled out. The poster, which again maybe we can put up, features the quote-unquote sheikh, the fictional sheikh, in front of a large swastika. Both of its main actors have openly shared anti-Semitic remarks and conspiracy theories on their social media. Again, as we saw with in Ireland after the war, little sense of distaste, little sense of repulsion being expressed at all of this. And so we can say that this plays into a long history of Egyptian anti-Semitism. Arabic translations of Mein Kampf have long been a staple, along with the aforementioned protocols of the Elders of Zion, of the Cairo International Book Fair, as revealed by the Simon Wiesenthal Center, who study these things. Naturally, this, as well as Turkish versions, interestingly, Mein Kampf was a bestseller in Turkey in 2005. All of these versions excise Hitler's disparaging comments on the Arabs in general, for obvious reasons, as well as specifically his Orientalist descriptions of the Egyptians as decadent. Wouldn't really do to be leaving those rather disparaging passages in place. So the Anti-Defamation League states that 75% of Egypt's population hold anti-Semitic views, especially conspiracies about the global dominance, the protocols theory, and Egypt, of course, has a long history of Holocaust denial. Bizarrely, the film was accused by some of propagating the Zionist narrative by even raising this historical connection, as though somehow a film that openly celebrated anti-Semitism and the Mufti's Nazi collaboration would somehow be playing into Netanyahu's hands. It doesn't really make an awful lot of sense. They say that why didn't the filmmakers make films about the Nakba instead, about the disaster as it's known in the Palestinian historical consciousness from 1947.